You're listening to BBC Introducing on Radio Sheffield. That was the sound of the new Stop Drop Robot track, Tillicum, and I'm joined in the studio today by Sam from Stop Drop Robot. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thanks for having us on, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming down. So, I want a bit of an explanation about the name of this track, Tillicum.
Yeah.
Where's that coming from?
I was watching this documentary called Blackfish, and I'm sure some of the listeners out there have probably seen it. It's about this killer whale that is being exhibited at SeaWorld in America, and this killer whale's actually killed 3 people, and they're still using him for shows. So it's quite an interesting, controversial character, this killer whale, and we just thought it'd make a pretty cool idea for a song, just to sing about, this kick-ass killer whale.
To the best of my knowledge, I can't remember ever having heard a song about a violent killer whale in the past. So, as far in terms of originality, brilliant subject matter. So, fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, with us being a Sheffield band and Sheffield being quite well known for making electronic music, I think that song in particular, you can hear sort of the old sort of electronic Sheffield sound coming through again, which it's not as commonplace as it used to be. A lot of indie acts coming through Sheffield and hard rock bands. So it's nice to. I'm very proud of that track in the way that that electronic sound is coming back through, and we're very much trying to advance it and evolve it so that it can find its place in these modern times. So
I think the last person really that's tried to do it in fairly recent history that's done it quite well was Reverend and the Makers. Not their album that's out at the minute. The album previous to that, at Reverend, the album that was named
Twitter
after
one.
their Twitter handle. That again, they had obviously acknowledged the great kind of electronic sounds that had come out of Sheffield, and kind of almost paid tribute to it in an album, which kind of worked really well for them. So, but it's nice to see you guys as well, obviously, kind of paying homage to it as well.
Certainly, so. And Reverend and the Makers, fantastic band, and we aspire to be another great Sheffield band, and you've got to do these things, and you've got to, understand your geography and the people who are going to gigs in your area. Not necessarily change the music that you're playing to something that they're going to want to hear, but if you can tip your hat to the old guard where you can, I think that's a nice thing.
Well, let's face it. To anybody that's got into music, in fairly recent years, as far as a lot of young people who are maybe a bit green behind the ears when it comes to music are concerned, when it comes to Sheffield music, it's all about the Arctic Monkeys, and if they dig a bit deeper and go into the history of the region, they'll find that it's a lot more eclectic than that,
yeah,
and you don't all have to sound like kind of follow suit in a certain kind of sound to really put your pin in the map and say this is where we're from and this is the type of music we're making. So
I mean, the way that we've designed this EP is there's 6 tracks, and the first 2 are about the future, the middle 2 are about the present, and the last 2 are about the past. So that one is of course about the present, and it is very much sort of just saying, look, we're aware of social issues and stuff like that. It's not a preachy song in any sense. It very much we sort of are just holding up a mirror to the world and just saying, look, this is what we're seeing. We're presenting an unbiased view of what we're seeing, and I think it's just interesting to just play a game really in terms of presenting a track in terms of maybe a killer whale on a rampage or whatever, but there is a social issue there, that and the subplot is something that I very much like to play with when we're writing songs. So I mean, that was Tillicum. That's what that one's about.
I'd say, should we have another track just now? We'll have a bit more of a chat in a second. Which one are we going to have just now then? So.
Okay, this one is called Murder the Drums, and it's featuring local drummer Joe Green.
You're listening to BBC Introducing on BBC Radio Sheffield, having a chat today with Sam from Stop Drop Robot. introducing on Radio Sheffield. That was the sound of Murder the Drums by Stop Drop Robot. So if you say that was featuring Joe from
Dead Sons.
Dead Sons, there we go. His name was on the tip of my tongue. Joe from Dead Sons on drums as well. You've done a fair bit of, I was going to say whoring yourselves out around the Sheffield scene, but I don't know if that sounds a bit uncomplimentary. I don't know.
I think
You've got in about there. You've
that might agree with that terminology. But yeah, we like to work with people, and I think being an electronic act, it's easier for us to do something like that than indie acts and other acts, because traditionally a lot of electronic artists do feature other artists on their songs, and I mean it was a great experience to go and collaborate with Joe in his at Dead Sons HQ, which was just quite and as I'm sure anyone that's seen Dead Sons can imagine the scenario. It's a great little spot that they've got there, but
I can imagine walking into Dead Sons HQ just being like walking into
on some taxidermy or something.
Yeah, exactly. Just like walking into some 70s B movie, like a horror movie, but just a bit weird and wonderful and great. So, but I mean, from a point of view of like in terms of collaboration and stuff and working with other artists, I mean, the first experience I ever had of Stop Drop Robot was when I got the Mark Nichols remix through on the uploader, right? And I've said this many times before in the show that when I saw a Mark Nichols remix, my instant thing in my head was I thought, no, somebody's ruined it, somebody's destroyed it, somebody has taken this beautiful piece of music and they've tramped all over it and it's going to be rubbish. And I was just taken aback at how well it had been done, not just from the point of view of you guys actually taking it and putting your own stamp on it, but obviously realising that it was a beautiful piece of music in the first place and showing a lot of respect for it as well. So I mean, that was my first experience of it, and I've kind of been hooked on it ever since then. But it's grown and it's developed and everything since then, I suppose. So I mean, how many years has it been going now? How long has it been going, really?
Stop Drop Robot, I mean, our producer started making stuff probably about 5 years ago, but as an actual rock band, 1 year.
Right.
And we didn't have any of the social networks or anything in place up till a year ago, and now we've got the largest Twitter audience of any unsigned band in Sheffield. It's quite a large comment to make, but it is true. We keep an eye on the other people and what they're up to, and
just so you can stake that claim.
Yeah, I
brilliant.
can say with confidence that it is the case, and SoundCloud as well, one of the largest ones on that, and unfortunately these are the ways that bands are judged these days, and it's upsetting, but they're also there to be manipulated, and you can use them to your advantage in terms of if people look at you and say, oh, they must be good because they've got a huge following.
Gone are the days when you can just kind of make music and rely on it to get you places.
Certainly,
you have to be a very savvy businessman these days in order to really get places.
Labels and that are looking for business partners instead of people that they can manage.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I mean, bringing it back to Murder the Drums, that's a track with Joe being such a great drummer. It's a track about musicians and the place they go to just to get away from music is their escape, if you like. And whatever's going on in your life, music can just elevate you to a place of peace, I guess. Yeah, so that's what Murder the Drums was about.
Never a sure word spoken. Brilliant. Yeah. Gig wise, have you got anything coming up in the pipeline?
Yeah, next Friday we are launching this EP that you've just heard 2 tracks from. It's called Cerebral Eviction Notice, and we're launching that at Plug at Proper Local, and if the tickets aren't already sold out, they're well on their way. You want to get yourself down to Proper Local on the 28th of March, because it's going to be a cracking night, I'm telling you.
These gigs seem to be going very well that they're putting on down there.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, I mean, we work closely with them to make them a success, and it's about trying to create this social hub in Sheffield that is missing at the moment, but is starting to happen again, because we've talked a lot about in the past how the previous generation of great Sheffield musicians had the Boardwalk. From the Boardwalk came the Reverend and the Makers, came Milburn, came Little Man Tate, and then you go back before that, and they had Lead Mill, and you had bands like Archery and that coming through, and I think it's just about coming up to a time where this generation, one of the acts that's already working on the scene now, will do it. You know what I mean? And as any rock band, you want to make sure you're right at the forefront of any movement there's going to be. So Proper Local is definitely a social hub, and it's going to become one, because they've got stalls there. They're selling absolutely any band in Sheffield. If you want a place will sell your music, and they're going to be rolling this out, so it's every couple of Fridays. They're going to be selling all Sheffield band stuff, and all the music that they play there is unsigned Sheffield bands.
Yeah.
And it's attached to Propaganda, and it goes into Propaganda and just plays Sheffield music all night. So, in terms of where, you can go out, you can meet literally everyone from the whole scene. So
the good thing about it is as well, I mean, in my mind, if that works really well, a kind of predominantly Sheffield-based night, it's all fine and well doing it in Sheffield, but we're doing it with Sheffield music to Sheffield people. I think it'd be great as well if that keeps going, to get the momentum to the point where you take it to different places as well.
They're talking about rolling it out. This is very much a flagship project to see how it goes, but we could start see them rolling it out to other places as well. So
brilliant.
Get down, get behind it, and who knows where it could go. And come down and meet people if you're in a band. You need to go and meet your contemporaries,
Definitely.
And it's a place where I've been down to a couple of events, and you can't move for musicians. So why would you not want to be there?
What better company to be in? Yeah.
Certainly.
So we've got Plug next Friday for Proper Local. How do people get a copy of the EP, by the way? What's the best way to...
It's coming out the night before Plug, so we're going to have an advanced listening party. If you come onto our Facebook page on the Thursday night, you can hear it first. It's going to be on SoundCloud, and then on that night we'll also be launching it on iTunes and Spotify, and then we've got fan bases around the world. It sounds big-headed, I know, but we've got it on all JB Hi-Fi and all these other distributors for other countries as well. But the main one, we want people to come stream on SoundCloud, because we've got a really good relationship with people in terms of getting back to them on that, and what any creative criticisms that they've got. And we really like SoundCloud, but it's the first time we've had something substantial like this going on to Spotify and iTunes as well, so we're excited just to see what happens in terms of getting it up on there as well.
Wonderful. Thanks very much for coming down and having a chat with me today, Sam. All the best for the release, the gig, everything. I hope it goes very well for you. I have the honour of picking the last track from the EP that we're going to play today. So, like I said, once again, thank you very much for coming down and having a chat with me today.
Yeah, no problem. Cheers for having us.
I have decided that the track I'm going to play is Remembrance Day. So this is the new one from Stop Drop Robot off their EP. This is Remembrance Day.
With these words I breathe new life into your dead and forgotten day.